It's not like your natural hair isn't growing, it's just breaking as fast as it's growing. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what actually causes your hair to look like it's not growing when it's actually growing. So keep on watching. Hey ladies, welcome and welcome back. If you're new, hello. My name is Miss Fabosole and this is Queen Natural Life. On this channel is all about lifestyle, beauty, natural hair, and personal development for the ladies. And if that is something you're interested in, then go down, click the subscribe button down below, and then you click the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So in the beginning of my natural hair journey, like a lot of naturalists, the first question I was asking is how do I grow my hair? What product should I use in order for me to grow my natural hair? And there is nothing wrong with these questions. It's just I think when you're trying to grow your natural hair, you're focusing on the wrong question. 9 times out of 10, your hair is already growing. If you're healthy, if you're not in any type of medication that can potentially cause hair loss, your hormones are properly balanced and everything like that, your hair is already growing. Your hair is looking like it's not growing because it's breaking as fast as it's growing. And therefore, it will seem like it's not growing, but when it's actually growing. So in this video, we're going to talk about what is breakage, ways that you can avoid breakage. And then lastly, I'm going to give you the tips and tricks that I've actually been using along the way in my natural hair journey for me to be able to grow my natural hair from this to this. So I'm sure you've all combed our hair at some point, and when you're actually combing your hair, there's hair obviously comes out because obviously you're combing your hair. There's usually really long pieces of hair, and then there's usually really tiny little pieces of hair. Most of the times, the long pieces of hair are usually shedding, and shedding is very normal. Every person sheds about 50 to 100 pieces of hair every single day. Experience shedding at some point. Breakage, however, is usually the very tiny little pieces that actually come out from hair that is still growing from our hair. And so sometimes maybe you might be asked, how do I know if this is shedding or this is breakage? Because shedding actually comes off from the roots of your scalp, has a white bob at the end. That is shedding. That's how shedding looks. It's a long strand of hair but doesn't have that white bob at the end. That means it's breakage. You have to also understand that just because breakage usually happens at the ends of your hair, it doesn't mean breakage cannot happen at any point of the hair. Breakage can happen at any point in your hair. The roots, the midsection, the end, anywhere. So if you have like a long strand of hair but it doesn't have that white end, that could most probably be breakage. Our hair experiences breakage for a variety of reasons. If our hair has been exposed to excessive heat, or we've chemically processed our hair either by using texlaxers, relaxers, dyes, and bleaches, our hair can potentially become damaged. This is because our hair is made of protein bonds. For the chemicals to actually take effect, it requires that these chemicals will actually penetrate deep into your hair shaft. By doing so, it can literally change the whole chemical anatomy of your hair strands, making it weaker and prone to more breakage. However, just because somebody's hair is chemically processed does not necessarily mean their hair is damaged. Everybody's hair is different. Some people's hair can endure more heat, chemical processing. However, at the end of the day, all we have to realize is that everybody's hair is different, and we have to pay attention to how our hair behaves, how our hair feels. I feel like the most important thing that everybody has to know is their hair porosity. This helps you to decide what are some of the styling choices that you can make in order for you to still maintain the health of your hair and for you to avoid unnecessary breakage because of the styling choices that you've been making. If your hair is dry, it has limited elasticity, which means it can easily break. Another cause of breakage is improper detangling. If you're being very rough or just carelessly just raking through your hair, over manipulation of our hair. If our hair is weak, if we have a lot of split ends or a lot of single strand knots, this could be some of the causes of breakage. Let's get into the solution. So the first thing is moisture. Moisture is the name of the game. If you want to retain as much length as you can retain, you have to make sure that you at least dip conditioning once a month. I dip condition every single time that I wash my hair. So if I have washed my hair that month 4 times, it means I'm going to be deep conditioning 4 times that month. Conditioners are actually made of chemicals that actually penetrate deep into your hair shaft and make it more moisturized and more manageable. That way you're actually avoiding breakage. Make sure you're moisturizing and re-moisturizing neatly. Do not wait for your wash day for you to be able to re-moisturize your natural hair. If you've seen that your hair is dry before wash day or in midway, spray your hair with some water, grab your leave-in conditioner, and then you have to seal your hair as well. Another tip for you to avoid breakage is doing protein treatments, and this one is a major tip for those girlies like me who have high porosity hair. So basically, as I've mentioned, our hair is made of protein bonds, so using protein treatments is like a reinforcement. Your protein treatments actually go within the gaps of your natural hair follicles, making it more stronger and less susceptible to breakage. I am not saying if you do protein treatments your hair is not going to break. It just makes it less prone to breakage. I would advise you do protein treatments if you're about to, let's say, blow dry your hair, so that the extra reinforcement can actually help you to experience any form of to avoid any form of heat damage. That way your hair is protected when you're actually using heat or using heat styling tools to style your hair. And as well as if you want, let's say, to bleach your hair, dye your hair, or texlax your hair, or do anything that is actually going to be altering the structure of the protein bonds within your hair. I'd advise you go ahead and do a protein treatment before you actually go through that whole process. One thing I want to say about moisture and protein is you can actually overdo moisture and you can also overdo protein treatments. If you over moisturize your natural hair or you over condition your hair, you can experience something called hydro fatigue. Hydro fatigue is actually worse than having dry hair, because hydro fatigue actually makes your hair feel so mushy and gummy, so much that if you manipulate it in any way, it literally feels so sticky. So you don't want to experience that. You have to make sure that you actually do not exceed a certain amount of time when you're actually conditioning. When you overdo protein treatments, you can experience something called protein overload. Protein overload is when your hair becomes too strong that it just becomes so brittle. But because it's so strong, like, it is not elastic in any way, so any tension that you might potentially put on it can just cause it to break. So you want to also make sure that you're actually balancing the protein and moisture within your hair, so that you're in that sweet spot, so it's not too strong, at the same time it's not just too soft, so that it maintains a good elasticity. Make sure you stick into products that are working for your hair. And I've gotten this question before, and somebody asked me, she was like, Febo, how do I know if this product is working for your hair? Well, one telltale sign if a product is actually working for your hair, if it's more nourished when you've used it, it feels moisturized and it feels more manageable. If your hair feels good, like it overall just feels soft after using that product might actually be working for your hair. But if you use that product and your hair still feels stiff, it feels like it's still dry, and it just does not feel like it can be manipulated in anywhere, maybe that product isn't for your hair. And I know that there's some products that just needs to, maybe you might have to use the product several times or maybe tweak it a little bit here and there for it to actually take its effect. Personally, when I use the Cantu Daily Moisturizer Oil, I've noticed that it actually does not penetrate my hair right away. Even though I'm high porosity, I have to let that product sit on my hair for some time before I can actually go into like seal my hair or do anything to my hair for it to feel supple and soft. But if you've seen that you've been using this product, and even if you let that product sit for a while, it still doesn't make your hair feel soft, it still doesn't make any difference to your hair, maybe that product just isn't made for your hair. I want us to also understand one thing, is that I know it's very easy for you to just want to copy and paste whatever somebody else is doing for their hair routine. But one thing you have to understand is what works for me might not work for you. What works for somebody else might not work for me. So you have to understand what actually works for your hair, how to actually take care of your hair. And you can only know this if you're like testing out different hair routines and experimenting, so that you actually come up with your own hair routine that actually helps your hair to actually thrive. Whatever you have to do to your hair, make sure you're being gentle and patient with your hair. Our hair is very fragile. I know personally, I have 4C4B hair, and on top of that I have high porosity hair, and on top of that my hair is fine, and on top of that I have low density hair. So I do not have actually a lot of hair. My hair just looks like it's thick, like it's a lot, because my hair is longer. You need to be very gentle with your hair, because our hair is fragile, especially when it's dry. Make sure you're not over manipulating your hair when it's dry, because any form of manipulation to your hair when it's dry can potentially cause a lot of breakage. Be gentle with your hair, take your time with your natural hair, and make sure that when you're detangling, you're using the right products and the right tool. Do not use fine tooth combs. They don't work for our hair textures. Invest in tools and products that actually work for your hair. So that is investing in wide tooth combs, investing in a good detangling brushes that are actually made for coily and curly textured girly. I personally noticed that when I brush my hair with like those brushes that have like those white beads at the end, my hair can literally get caught in between that bead and that brush bristle. Another thing I could say when it comes to detangling is make sure that you're actually doing your hair only when you have the time. Make sure you're only doing your hair when you have the time, considering your lifestyle to your hair routine. If you have a very busy lifestyle, you obviously cannot be the person that's going to be washing their hair every single week. Like, no. You have to come up with your own hair routine that's actually structured for your lifestyle. That way it actually fits into your lifestyle and not your routine fitting into your hair routine. Another tip is making sure you implement wearing low manipulation hairstyles and protective styling. If you've watched my how to grow your natural hair video, then I'm sure I also mentioned this about protective styling. Protective styling basically is those hairstyles that help you tuck your ends in so that you can give your hair a breather, so that it can be growing without actually having to tamper with it. Another alternative to hairstyles, if you're not a person who loves protective hairstyles, maybe you can try to implement low manipulation hairstyles. So that could be buns, twist outs, braid outs, whatever it is. Make sure you're implementing these hairstyles so that you can also be able to have fun with your hair, but at the same time not having to experience breakage. That's going to be like pushing back in progress or whatever. When it comes to protective styling, I think everybody has to make sure that they're choosing protective hairstyles that basically you won't easily get bored of. It's counterintuitive. If you're getting a protective style but like you're already bored with it within 2 weeks, then that might not actually be the best. So you want to make sure that you're choosing a protective hairstyle that you're actually going to be able to stick to for like a longer length of time, like maybe 4 to 6 weeks. I can personally stay with protective styles from like 2 to 6 months, but that's just me. I'm not advising you do this because I know that some people can experience a lot of matting and breakage, but I think I have learned my hair to a point where like I know how to take down my hair if it's been in protective style for like 6 months. And I am not the person that's just gonna like braid my hair and forget about it. No, I actually make sure that I'm still washing my hair when it's in protective styles. I'm still deep conditioning my hair. I'm still conditioning my hair. I'm still moisturizing and re-moisturizing my hair even when it's in protective styles. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like cornrows, because with cornrows I can do all that and I can still throw in a wig if I'm feeling so fancy, or I could just take my head wrap and just wrap it around my head and I'm out the door if I just don't feel like doing too much that day. I think the umbrella of this whole video is that you have to make sure that you learn how to do your own hair. You're the only person that I know that's actually going to be more patient with your hair, more gentle with your hair, and this is going to actually be paying attention to your hair if it's not responding well to product. Most of the times when you go to salons or like when you have a hairdresser, they're just in a rush because baby girl, she's trying to chase the bag as well. Like, she's not about to be spending 3 hours on your hair when she's got like a whole line of people who are about to also pay her. Make sure you learn how to do your own hair, but I think if maybe you're the kind of person like me, I don't know how to braid my own hair. I only wash, condition, I know how to blow dry my own hair, but when it comes to braiding, like I will corner somebody's head, but I can corner my own hair. What I make sure I do is I just make sure that I detangle my hair thoroughly before I go get my hair dressed by somebody else. Basically, I'm just trying to make the work easy for the person that's going to be doing my hair. That way they're not going to be ripping out my hair, or they're just not going to be like just being so rough with my hair. If you can braid your own hair, go ahead, braid your own hair. Or if you can't braid your hair, then make sure that you find somebody you can actually trust, somebody that actually takes care of the overall health of your hair to actually do your hair. Because if you have, just don't go to anyone to just touch your hair, because some people just don't care. I mean, we're about that bag. That's all I have for you in this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to like this video so it gets recommended to other viewers like you, and don't forget to also subscribe so you're part of the family, and then click the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload. You might want to watch this video where I actually talk about how you grow natural hair. So thank you so much for watching. Love you and stay blessed.